Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me here today on this channel. Before we get started with the video, I just want to take a moment and say Merry Christmas everyone. It's the 25th today, it is Christmas Day, and I hope that whoever you're celebrating Christmas with, whether it's your family, friends, or whoever, that you're enjoying this day fully, but most importantly, you also want to be safe and just make sure everyone around you is safe as well, and to just take care. I feel like that's the most important thing, is to just stay healthy and take care. So with that being said, let's take a look at what we got in front of us. So here we have the newest release in the Seiya St. Cloth Myth EX line. This of course is the God of Sleep himself, Hypnos. Now I actually got this guy along with Delta Mega's Albric, which I actually reviewed yesterday. So if you want to take a look at that, just hop onto yesterday's video and you'll see that. But something to note, interestingly, is that this guy and Albric were actually around the same price. He, I think, was just like a tad bit more expensive. And if you saw how big Albric's box was, and basically all that came with Albric, you'll be like, why the hell is Albric so expensive? Or why the hell is this guy so cheap, right? And to that, I actually have no idea. But I mean, just looking at it, you can see how much detailing and just all that intricacy is on this guy compared to Albric. And he comes with wings. He comes with a robe, which we'll show off in the back. And we see here, this is all kind of chrome. And why? That's because he has an EX metal body. Now, the EX metal body was first introduced with Hades, God of the Underworld, which came out around a year ago. I did get him. I originally made a video of him, but that was before I actually started YouTube, and looking back, that video is just not up to par. It's just sounded way too awkward. Again, of course, I'm still awkward now, but I've just learned to embrace it, but back then I was just very uncomfortable, so I'll have to do another video of Hades, just a year late, right? But I'll get to that eventually, and then I'll do a comparison. But I will do a comparison with Hades towards the end of this video when we're looking at comparisons. But so yeah, speaking of EX metal body, so Hades was the first to have an EX metal body. The next one released was the OCE version of Wyvern Rhadamanthys, which was one of the 3 judges of hell from the Hades chapter. And then I think the latest one before this to be released was the 24K gold Gemini Saga, which came with the EX metal body and joints as well. So basically what this is just means that the joints, specifically the elbows as well as the knees, are now made of metal rather than plastic like some of the earlier figures. And this is actually very useful for someone the size of this guy with all this armor on him as well as the wings, because what happened to those earlier figures is those knees would start to cave in. They would get some of this, what we call this knock-knee position. And over time, it just started sinking, and that's not good. So with these metal jointed figures, these EX metal figures, it actually prevented that from happening and actually allowed these figures to stand up. Like, it's been a year, and just looking at Hades, which I do have on the side here, he's still standing up straight. The knees show absolutely no sign of any kind of bending, which I think is really nice for especially these figures with more armor on them. So that's a lot of talking. Let's take a look at the box. We got a Hypnos here with his wings and his golden armor. And for those that don't know, this is one half of the twins, the other one being Thanatos, God of Death. Hopefully he'll come out soon, probably in 2022. Here we got him with his eyes closed and wearing a robe. And here we see that this is part of Hades chapter Elysian. On the top here, St. Cloth Myth EX, and this is basically just kind of like the map, the drawing of the underworld. And on the side here, we got the object mode for Hypnos, which looks actually kind of weird. It's like a hunchback, but it's because this is a god, the object mode looks very similar to how the character actually does. And let's just look on the other side before we get to the back. Here we have him in his robe, which looks really, really cool. And on the back, we see him throwing his ultimate attack, which is Eternal Drowsiness. And we got all of the different faces and the mask, along with some of the nice, cool accessories, almost like a box with a seal on top. Here's the object mode once again, him getting ready to attack, as well as the robe, and it's really, really cool. Now, on the bottom here, let's take a look. So on the bottom, we just have him without his helm, and just ready to throw it down, and in the background, we have Elysian. So yeah, that's a pretty heavy box, pretty big box. Without further ado, let's crack this box open. All right, so now let's take a look at what this box actually comes with. So this was just the middle layer, but it's the smallest one, so I just laid it on top. This is the wings that this guy comes with. We see nice gold. We have some of this purple here, as well as a kind of lighter shade of purple at the ends. We have some of these diamond markings here, which is very cool. On the back side, pretty much the same thing. So that is that. Next, we have, this is the bottom tray. We see we got the object mode body, we got more wings, we got the stand, which is just a star shape. And here we got more of the stand, the legs, the little box that has a seal on it, which we'll take a look at in a second, as well as some of the different faces that Hypnos comes with. So that is that. And finally, this is the heavy box, because this is all of his armor. First we see Hypnos standing in the middle here, and you can't really see now, but I don't know if you can see these joints. They're kind of separate pieces. They're actually separate from the body above and the limb below, and those are the metal joints. But we'll take a look at that in a second here. We got all of these big heavy armor pieces, as well as this big dress, and the faceplate, as well as these big shoulders. Under all of that, we have our white robe, which I feel like is very, very cool. There's no markings, no designs on here at all, but it's just the white robe, and I feel like it's a very nice touch that they included this. They included something like this similarly to with Hades, but with Hades it was actually a cape. Now, Hades was also cool because he actually came with the first cloth cape, which again, I'm not going to go too much into detail. We'll take a look at that when we get to Hades, but so yeah, there's that. And here, of course, we have the instruction booklet, but I only show this because I don't know if you can see that. We got these stickers inside, and I just realized that the seals were stickers, which kind of really sucks. It comes with 3 of them. They all look the same, so I'm guessing you can only use them once or twice or maybe just a few times, and you have to get rid of it. So I'm probably not going to use these in the end. We'll take a look at them when we're putting everything together, but yeah, so just the instruction booklets, and that is that. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm sure you guys know by now, is give me a second. I'm just going to assemble the object mode, which is what you see on here, and I will be right back. And here we are with the God of Sleep in its object mode. So taking a nice close look here, you can see that he's kind of got this hunched over posture. I'm not sure why, but it's pretty cool. We got these nice big wings on the back here. Kind of also got these 2 golden flaps that I think actually were just meant to be hidden for the most part. We got these hands kind of just outstretched, reaching forward. We got this nice dish on the back of the head. I'm not quite sure what it's for, but we also got this, gonna move it a little close here. You can see the helm actually has 2 different ears. The one on the right is bigger than the one on the left, and for Thanatos, which is its twin, the god of death, it's actually reversed, with the left being bigger and the right being smaller. As we can see here, we got a nice base, which is like a pentagram. Of course, these are the servants of Hades, his personal bodyguards, so of course everything will be related to death and the devil, so that's what the pentagram is for here. Kind of got almost like these feathers at the base here. I think it's just a very, very cool design and object mode overall. Now, of course, Hypnos being the god of sleep himself, he is a deity. His armor is based on him. And pretty much this is how he will look like when he's all armored up. So yeah, so speaking of Hypnos, let's bring in the figure here. So as I was mentioning earlier, this is a EX metal figure. Now, to kind of just emphasize what I said, you can see that these joints here are kind of shiny, and that's because they are made of metal. These are metal, so by no means will these joints bend over time, because look at that, like it wiggles a little bit, but it's not gonna cave because these joints are made of metal. And yeah, so this not only adds extra stability and integrity to the figure, but also actually, when he's all armored up, brings a more cohesive look, because if his arms are all just flesh tone, the color of his chest and his shoulders, with the armor on, you would actually see the flesh tone peeking through those armor pieces. But with these joints being the same color as his armor, when everything gets put on, it looks much more cohesive. And another thing to note is this guy's hands actually just comes with these armored on hands. They don't come with the bare fists. And if you think about it, honestly, who's gonna display their figure like this? It's either you display the object mode, or you take the armor off the object mode and you put it on this guy and you display this guy. You're never gonna display this guy just like this. So I think that's a smart move on Bandai, just to take away some of the unnecessary things, and such as the bare hands. So yeah. But otherwise, let's go over articulation real quick, because articulation with the armor on would just be a nightmare. Base of the neck is on a ball joint. Neck is on a double swivel and a hinge in the middle. So you can look down, look up, side to side, wiggle, wiggle. We got nice butterfly joints in the shoulders. And another thing about these EX metal figures is that I feel like the shoulders kind of flow better, and it's not just a ball joint for the butterfly joint. So this actually looks better too. So we got the butterfly forward and back. We got rotation all the way around, a hinge that goes up to 90, bicep rotation here, double bend at the elbow, which is very tight because it's metal. We also have a ball hinge at the wrist, getting these arms out of the way here. We have a ab crunch that goes forward that far and that far back, which is actually not a lot. It does extend. Actually, no, it doesn't extend anymore. I forgot. That's right. The EX metal figures actually don't have an extendable waist, and that's actually another area that I feel like they improved on, because those older figures, this would actually end up getting loose. So when you were picking them up, they would just kind of flop. So that's actually a good move on their part. You have a swivel for the waist. Legs can kick forward this far, very tight as well, even though that's just plastic. Kick back that far, which is actually not a lot. We can do the splits all the way out. And we have a thigh rotation there. Got a double bend at the knee for a 180. We have a swivel at the ankle, which is still one of the areas that could still be weak. And we have a ankle pivot that far up, that far down, which is crazy, as well as a pivot that's extremely tight that goes in that far and out a little bit as well. And we got a toe pivot, and that goes to just about there. So yeah, we pretty much have all the articulation that we need for this figure. Of course, with the armor on, you're not going to be putting him close to any of these poses that maxes out on these articulation, but it's still pretty nice to have good articulation. So with that being said, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take all the armor off the object mode, and then we're going to armor Hypnos up himself, and we'll take a look at how he looks. So give me a second, I will be right back. And here we are back with Hypnos all armored up in his, I believe this is called a god surplice, because of course he is a god, and all of Hades' henchmen, including himself, wear the surplice. So I must say right off the bat, this guy looks absolutely amazing. I love the purple on his wings, as well as just the gold all throughout his body. And just bringing him in close here. And I just want to mention that this guy actually weighs a crap ton. He is super heavy. And it's just hard to actually just get a hold of him even. Like, I don't even know what to hold so that he doesn't fall. But just to show you the full capabilities of that EX metal body, look at that. The legs do not flop at all. It is solid. It is super solid. He is not going anywhere. He will not be falling apart on you. And that is something that I really, really appreciate Bandai doing, especially for these bigger figures, especially with these wings and these giant shoulder pads. So taking him in close here, we can see all nice detailing, which is typical of god armor at this point. Got all these intricate just kind of circles and crescents and all that. And get the feet down here. We don't really see the leg armor because it's all covered, but you can kind of see that a little bit. And on the back here, got these wings. It's curious because all five of these kind of wings go off to one side. I don't know why. They all kind of curve inwards and down to one side. So if you do want to twist them around, you can, but they'll end up kind of curving back the other way, and that just kind of looks weird. So I'm not really sure why this is the case, and maybe Thanatos will have them going the other way. So, and And at the front here, we do have these nice golden kind of tassels going all the way down. These do attach to his shoulder pads. And we got this giant satellite dish on his back of his head, which is on a hinge. You can fold that down or fold that up. One thing to note is he does come with a giant hairpiece. However, if you do decide to keep that satellite dish on his back, you can't really put the hair on because it just doesn't fit. So yeah, there's that, but we'll take a look at this later on when we get to the robe. So, with that being said, let's take a look at some of the accessories that this guy comes with. So starting off, we got a bunch of hands. So as I mentioned earlier, he comes with the fisted hands, and actually he doesn't even come with the flesh tone bare hands anymore. The hands that come with him are already armored. So in addition to that, we got two kind of chopping hands. Focus. There we go. We got two kind of open palmed, relaxed hands. And we got two kind of like clawing hands. And to switch the hands on, it's very simple. Just grab the forearm, pull the hand off. I'm going to think from now I'm not going to go over the process of doing that anymore because it's very simple. It's very intuitive. Some joints are a little tighter than others. Some are a little bit looser, but literally you just grab the forearm and just pop the hand right off. So that's it for the hands. Let's take a look at some of the faces for this guy. Now, one thing to note is if you look at him closely, you see that he has a star, like a pentagram, on his forehead. And all of his faces do so. Same with his brother, Thanatos. All of his faces have these stars on them. And I guess that's just because he inhabits a living body, I guess. The God of Sleep inhabits a living body, and he's basically, with that star, it means that the body is under the god's control. So here we have one that's him screaming. Also to note is that they are pupilless. It's almost as if the host is in a trance. We got a closed eyes. We got a smirk. And we got a gritting the teeth. Now, to switch the faces, very simple. All you gotta do is just, let's fold this thing down because get it out of the way. Grab the back hair, grab the front hair, and literally just give it a yank. It'll come right off. And then just wiggle the face off, just like so. We got two little pegs that peg into the bottom set of holes on his head. Let's make him happy. Give him a smirk. So take these two pegs, same thing, just plug it in. And we would take the hairpiece and we will plug it in. However, since the hairpiece is off, let's take a look at the other accessories that come with this guy. And that would be the helm. So as I mentioned earlier, in the object mode, one ear or wing, or whatever you want to call it, is bigger than the other one. And for his brother, Thanatos, it is the other way around. This one's big, this one is small. So that is that. We see you get a nice blue jewel here at the front, nice gold, and just black all throughout. Very, very cool. And he comes with a specific hairpiece just for that. You can see we got two holes here, which is made to house these two pegs. So I like to just peg the headpiece into the hair first. Just give that a push, make sure that goes all the way in. And then we're just going to take this, use these two pegs, plug them into his head. And here we have Hypnos with that face mask on. And I think that looks very cool. Almost gives him a beard. And honestly, without the mask, it kind of like, I look at this guy, I'm like, who is this guy? It's very signature for him to have this mask on. And I always thought that he had a beard under that, but actually he does not. So that is how he looks with the mask. And I think at this point, let's just get to the last accessory. But before that, let's just take a look at the chest. So this is a little chest that comes with him. It is just made in plastic. I'm not sure the significance. If I watch the show, I probably will. But it's very, very nicely detailed. We got this purple metallic all throughout. We got some black paint on these panels. And then all these details are picked out in the silver paint all around here. And it does open up to reveal a kind of matte finish, red on the inside. there's nothing inside, so I'm thinking maybe you can keep something in there. Maybe it was meant to have something inside, but again, I'm not exactly sure. And with this, like I said earlier, came with I'm guessing this is a sticker sheet. It comes with 3 of the same, and what the box actually showed is that you would take one of these and just kind of tape it over here. I'm actually not going to do that because I don't want to waste these things, and probably not going to really display this box. I'm just going to be displaying this figure. So there you go, it comes with this too. Now, the last thing that we saw earlier was this robe. Now, this robe is actually pretty nice. It's made of a very thin and soft material. However, this actually does look a little bit on the cheaper end compared to some of the other robes that we've gotten with St. Cloth Myth EX figures. There's no kind of embroidery around the edge, no details, no designs, nothing, just straight up white. And basically what we would do is we would just put this over all of his armor and have his shoulder pads stick out. So in order to prepare for that, I'm just going to disassemble him a little bit, and I'll explain what I did when I get back. But just to make... All right, and we are back, and basically what I did off camera was I took off the wings, I took off the shoulder pads, and I ripped the head off. So what we can do is we can take the body, we can raise these arms up, and kind of have them just close. Same on the other side here, kind of straighten the arms, have them close. And all we're going to do is we're going to take this robe now. It doesn't really matter which side's front or back, it doesn't really say, and I don't think it makes much of a difference either. We're just going to slide this over to about here, and then what you want to do is you want to kind of finesse each arm through these sleeves. Can take a little bit of doing, so... It also tells you to kind of take the hands off, but I really don't think it's going to make much of a difference. So I just left the hands on. All right, and now we have something like this with the robe basically all over the armor. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take these shoulder pads and we're just going to reattach them onto this. And this might take a little bit of doing too, so we'll just see how well I can do this. All right, and I'm back with Hypnos all just robed up, and I actually decided to just do everything off camera because unfortunately the right shoulder joint snapped. Just to let you guys see, it can just come right off. Let me show you that real up close here. I don't know if you can see that. That just snapped right off as I was trying to put it on, and the piece that broke, so you guys can see, it's that little guy right there. And the only connection piece, I don't know if you can see that, is just that little piece, which is honestly kind of stupid if you think about it. It's like all the stress of the entire shoulder and this joint kind of just rests in this little triangle connection, and I just don't see how that is a good idea, especially for someone like this, because it's really hard to get this shoulder joint on. You see how the attachment is quite deep inside the shoulder, and it's a massive shoulder piece of armor. And trying to just get it on, you can't even really see where you're going, so there's a lot of stress going through that, and yeah, so it just snapped right off. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get a replacement for this. And for those of you that actually don't know how Amazon Japan works, it's they only want you to ship back to them with DHL if you're out of Japan, and that is not cheap. I've done shipping back to them before, and usually costs around at least $100. They do reimburse you in the end afterwards, but it's just annoying, and I still have to get another replacement of this guy, so that's another $200-ish. So in the end, everything will work out, but it's just another almost $300 I have to dish out by myself first, which really, really sucks. So with that being said, I'm not really gonna take any crazy photos of this guy. I'm just gonna take a photo of him in the robe as well as that object mode. When I do get the replacement back in, I'll take some more photos with that, provided that doesn't break either, hopefully. But yeah, so when I get the new Hypnos in, I'll take more photos. I'll just upload them on YouTube, similar to how people upload photos. So with that being said, I'm just gonna have to put this guy back and just make sure he can at least stand here first, kind of just like that. I mean, he still looks good in the robe, so I'll give him that. But you see how it's just floppy, whereas the other one is nice and solid. This one is just, yeah, it's just floating. So that really, really sucks. So let's just get to some comparisons real quick. Here I have him next to my other EX metal figure, and this is his boss, if we call it that. This is Hades, god of the underworld, and of course, Hypnos is one of his bodyguards, the other one being Thanatos, which is his twin brother, which is more of a blackish silver color because he is the blackish gold one, and the head crest has the wings flipped. So the left wing would be bigger and the right wing would be smaller. So that is that. Now, before we actually end the video and before we actually talk about the figure, I just want to go in some Seiya St. Cloth Myth EX news, because I know not a lot of people cover these news, and for 2022, we're actually going to get a lot of new releases. So I think starting right off in January, we're going to be getting an OCE edition of Griffin Minos, and like I said earlier, OCE just means original color edition. It's just very basic colors, how they would have been portrayed in the manga, basically in the comics drawing. And but Minos does come with an EX metal body similar to these guys, just like how Radamanthys did as well, and how Garuda Ayako's will as well in the future. So that's really cool. Before, OCEs was just like a, hell no, I'm not going to get that, I'm not going to waste my money on it, but because they are EX metal body, I'm on the fence. I'm thinking about it, because it will just make the figure so much more secure and so much more stable, as we saw with this guy. Even though sadly the shoulder did break, that's not a metal body issue, that's just a joint issue. I believe we're also getting in February Zeta Alcor Bud, which is the twin brother of Mizar Sid, except he's just in a completely white and silver god robe, which is really cool. We're also getting the final bronze version of Dragon Shiru. We're getting a revival version of the new bronze cloth of Andromeda Shun, which I really do need because my original one is really loose. And we're also getting Luminatus Casa, which is the final Marine General in Poseidon's army. So that, with him, will complete the entire Marine General team, including Poseidon. That will be 8. And if I remember correctly, I think that's pretty much it. But I have heard rumors that we're going to get a Gamma Effecta Thor, which is another God Warrior. That guy is absolutely massive, and I think it'll be definitely a worthy pickup when they do release that. So with that being said, let's get some final thoughts on this figure. It's a very, very nice figure. I absolutely love the EX metal body. It makes everything so just solid, stable, and stiff. He's not going to fall on you. He's not going to like do the splits or just fall back or do anything. So that's really, really good. Just like Hades, you don't really need a stand for him to stand. He'll hold his weight, no problem. Some cons though, and obviously we're going to talk about the shoulders. Not just the shoulders, but also the skirt armor. The attachment points are too short, and they're too, how should I say it, deep into the armor. It's like the armor, like if you look at the shoulder here, it's like this big rounded dome, and the attachment point is inside. So by the time you're trying to attach that on, you can't really see where you're attaching to, and you're just gonna have to guess. And sometimes if that joint is off slightly, it could put a lot of pressure through those hinges and joints, and that's what caused this thing to snap. So that kind of sucks. So the engineering of the attachment points and the joints and the hinges, I feel like might not be the best when it comes to the armor. However, just the overall figure itself is very, very nicely made. Lots of details, lots of intricacies. Love the color, and I just love the metal content on this guy as well. So that being said, I definitely do highly suggest you pick this guy up, and hopefully your copy doesn't break like mine. If you are debating between this guy or the review I did yesterday, which is Delta Mega's Albric, for around the same price, go for this guy. Don't go for the other guy. The other guy's not bad. It's just you're getting way more for your value with Hypnos here than you will be with Albric. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and Merry Christmas once again, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Take care.